Hello again. Been a little while since I last did a video update. The last time I spoke to you, I'd had a bit of a speed bump really with the layout with Greenwood, and I described how I was planning to resolve some issues with the track. I've done that. Still not 100%, but I'm a lot happier with it now, really, or at least it's at a point where I can kind of ignore it and just crack on. What I've also done is a little bit of extra detailing work on the layout, just those little jobs that keep it moving forward. So I'll show you those in a moment, and then we'll just do a little bit of a switching session as well. So starting on this end of the layout, I've added this low relief building here. It's something I've got left over from a previous layout, and just felt it sort of framed that end a little bit better. Done a bit of weathering to the surface here, just using some sort of pastel chalks and so on. Added some paint to this building. I think it still needs a little bit of weathering, as do the vehicles. Over on the greenery side of things, I've added some sort of shrubs, if you like, underneath the tree line there, which I think helps it to bed in a little bit more, and a few more bits and bobs sort of on the ground cover, really, weeds and that kind of thing, and some tufts and so on as well. These bushes and things for the undergrowth, the way I've made those is really just pulling up tufts of some of that foliage, sort of leaf material, if you like, dipping it in glue and then dipping it in some suitable sort of leaves and so on as well. I think that works quite well as a sort of background bit of foliage. And then across here, I still need to do something with that little area where the silo is. I've started to weather that up a little bit and just plopped that fence there for the moment. But I don't know whether you can see as well. I think you probably can. But I've started to add some bits of litter and junk around the tracks, because looking at a lot of photos on Street View and so on, that does seem to be a fairly common feature in these sort of areas. Actually, little bits of packaging and plastic strapping and all that kind of stuff just blowing around. And then I still need to do some work at the far end of the layout, really, in that corner where the track disappears, and sort of tidy up that bit. And then apart from that, really, it's just this very front edge I want to neaten that up a little bit, either with a piece of hardboard or paint it black or whatever, but just a bit of a tidy up job. So this section here is where I had that problem with the join between the two boards on the track here. So I completely lifted sections of track, really, sort of from there to about there on both of those two bits. Relayed them again with those Protec aligners, repainted, ballasted, and all the rest of it. And as I say, it's generally a lot better now than it was before. What I've found is it feels as though there's just a slight hump where the boards meet up, but I suspect could be as much to do with my carpentry, I don't know. But overall, the running's a lot better now, and I think I'm at a point where I can kind of ignore it. I'm fiddling about with it. It's not going to make it any better. And probably worth mentioning, one little bit I've just started to give a little bit of thought to is this entrance to the layout there. So the little gap that the trains come through and go out to the fiddle area. I've just got a bit of black foam board there at the moment, but I have been playing around with using things like, pardon me messing about, just trying out a bit of a print of some bushes and so on as well, and positioning those in different places so that looking through that gap there, what might be quite nice is to have a bit of greenery sort of continuing, just to give that illusion of it continuing. So that's something I'll work on, I think, over the next few weeks, and just sort of play around with a few options as well. Worth mentioning briefly as well, actually, I've don't know if you recall, but on previous videos, that building there, which is a combination of sort of 3D prints and plastic card, was still just in grey primer. So I've just added a first coat of paint to that. It wasn't intended to be brick, but it's looking like a bit of a brick building at the moment. So I might revisit that. But yeah, there's still a bit of work to do on that, but at least it's not just a block of grey primer at the moment, and blends into the layout a little bit better. So anyway, let's do some switching.